Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hi, guys. John, the firearms instructor, and welcome to our live. Tonight, we'd like to thank our sponsor, freeflorida.net, where the Constitution still lives. This is a family-owned business that has a T-shirt and shirt business. They have SPS 50s. They have T-shirts, long sleeve, hoodies, fishing shirts, women's shirts, anything that you need. Please visit their website, freeflorida.net. Use FTBJ924 at checkout and receive 10% off. Thank you, freeflorida.net, for sponsoring this live this evening. And not only that, sponsoring our YouTube channel as well as our social media accounts. Thank you, freeflorida.net. Guys, please help me out and visit their website and pick up a shirt or two. They put their money where their mouth is. They've sponsored us. They believe in what we do, and we would like to support them as well. A family-owned business out of Florida, and FTBJ924 at checkout will get you 10% off. You got to check it out, guys. Well, good evening, guys. My name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, we've got a great show for this evening. I've got people holding out here. If you have any comments, you can always speak about them. Richard Shepard made a comment at 5:31 saying, "I'm back." Welcome back, Richard. I'm glad you're here, sir. I'm hoping you're having a great day, and we look forward to. Excuse me a second, guys. Look forward to seeing you. We're excited. We just brought out a new book. We just brought out a new ebook. That is our third in our series of shooting books. It's on Amazon. It's on our YouTube channel. There's a lot of different stuff. You can go to our website and pick it up as well. And this live this evening is all about proper grip. And we're going to educate you on what the proper grip is. I did a Tactical Tuesday today on our YouTube channel, if you had an opportunity to see that yet. And it went through proper grip, but we're going to cover it tonight through our live as well. We're hitting this at all different angles. And we wanted to make sure that, you have understand that the grip is the foundation of shooting, if you really think about it. Without a proper grip, you really can't do much of anything. Excuse me. What? Hang on a second. Jake! Excuse me, guys, for a second. Jacob! Give me something to drink real quick. Something went down my throat the wrong way. I'm sorry to cough on the phone like that, guys. I apologize. Well, hope you're having a wonderful time. I hope you're getting sick of this election thing. I can't wait till next week. Get it back. It's either going to be good news or it's going to be another 4 years of what we got, which I hope it's good news. There we go. That's good. Perfect. I'm good. I don't need more than that. All right. So let's start this out with a little bit of an idea. I got my script here. Try to put stuff down writing and wise. I try to go by the seat of my pants once in a while, but it's good to make sure you have everything set up the way it is. Give me a comment if you can hear me. Everything's copacetic on the backside of this thing, and someone can hear me. Please give me a 1-2 and let me know that you can hear what's going on, and we'll go from there. 1-1. Anybody? Nobody? Everyone's dead tonight? No one's on the phone call? Miss Johnson, are you there? Somebody's got to be there. Hey, Jacob. Oh, there we go. We got somebody there. All right. When it comes to accurate shooting, there's one foundation element that can make or break your shot, and it's your grip. The way you hold the pistol is more than just a matter of comfort. It's the foundation upon which all shooting skills are built. A solid, consistent grip stabilizes the firearm and mitigates recoil to ensure your aim stays true. Without it, even the best stance and the sight alignment and trigger control, you will struggle with delivering accuracy results. This guide we're going to cover this evening is 10 essential things that I feel will make you more precise with a pistol. Each each tip will be focused on enhancing grip, stability, and control, help you build a foundation to support accuracy, safety, whether you're a beginner learning the basics or an experienced shooter looking for refine your technique. Mastering your grip is a key to becoming better marksman. Let's dive into what it takes to go to the next level. Guys, I want to tell you about our our book. The book we have it on our YouTube channel. There'll be a link down below in this. And there it is. It's called Get a Grip: How to Properly Hold a Pistol from John the Firearms Instructor. It's not very long at all, but it's got a pack full of knowledge that you'll be able to pick up. Want to visit our link down below, you can pick it up. There's a great price there at $9.99, and it gives you everything you need to become more proficient and more square with a pistol and be able to get to that next level of accuracy. And we do all this stuff for you guys to make sure that you have the little bit of you know, knowledge when you go to the range. Obviously, the YouTube channel is all about this, going through, giving you tips and tricks. That doesn't cost you anything, I understand, but some of this stuff we feel is great knowledge you need to take your way into the next level, the next level. We give you everything there, but the book itself, some people can just watch the video and catch it. Some people have to physically maybe watch a video and read it, and some people have to do it, read it, and watch it. And sometimes people don't want to go to training class or they don't have a good trainer around them. So this information you're getting are small increments you can add to your education to make you better and better and better a shooter and make you more proficient. So that's the cool thing about that. So each time we're going to look or say something to this evening, I have a yellow gun. That is a dummy gun, so I will be showing the camera this. Yes, it will be pointed at the camera once in a while. We are in a closed set, and this is a dummy gun. There is no rounds, no way a bullet can go into this. I'm just doing this now, guys, for the powers to be to watch these things, and when we download them, that they understand that we physically are, being safe and all that stuff. I know it seems silly, but that's sometimes we have to do that, guys. So, what is the first thing I would recommend is when you are in the back and you are shooting, a lot of guys and women tend to not hold the pistol as high as they can on the tang of the weapon, which is right here. And if you hold the pistol like this and give that little bit of gap there, you're going to allow this pistol to move up and down in recoil, which is called muzzle flip, which we don't want to have any muzzle flip when we're controlling the weapon. So the very first thing we want to do is when we grab the pistol is make a pistol. If we make a pistol to pick up a pistol, chances are our finger will not be on the trigger. So let's go ahead and do that. Lift up. And there is our grip. And if you noticed how high I got on this tang on this thing, this right here, there's no possibility if I lift on the front of this pistol that it's going to get any kind of muzzle flip at all because it's going to be knocked here and you are knocked here. So you're wedging that right into your hand, if that makes sense. But if I give you a little bit of gap, and then I start pushing up, I'm going to get a little more flip. So the more we can control it, the better we're going to be. So high on the tang is very important. This is called the back strap. Obviously, we want to be high on the back strap and make sure that the weapon is going down your arm. A lot of times when people put a firearm in their hand, they tend to, let's see if I can do it this way. You tend to want to make sure it's down your hand and not at an angle of any kind or over the knuckle of any kind. That puts the gun at a weird angle. If you had the gun over your knuckle, I don't know if you could see that, but over your knuckle, excuse me, over your knuckle, you've got the gun at a weird angle already, and it's causing the weapon to be turned off to a right-handed cant, which would not be good. So you always want to think about centering the gun in the center of your hand, and that'll keep that weapon level in that scenario. So grip high on the backstrap. Now, we want to wrap our fingers for firm and secure. See that right there? This is another thing is if you're holding your hand down low, you're not getting a good overall control. So we want to be up here. And then we want to wring our other hand. And this is kind of one of those when we make this grip here, we're physically, I've never done this on the camera, so I apologize if I'm moving it all around, but I wanted to make sure you guys could see it. But if you see this, this is your gap area here. And that gap area is where your other hand goes. So we just wrap it. Let's see if I can do this. We're just going to wrap it in. So our grip is going to go here. And our thumbs are going to go forward just a little bit, which is going to give us more control of the weapon. Now, again, we're having this finger right here, high on the tang, just like this. So you almost karate chop it in and wrap it and solid it around, and that gives you that grip on that side as well. So you have the grip on this side and the grip on this side. Now, this right here, what we're doing, guys, is not only are we putting pressure on the firearm in this direction, but we're putting pressure, like if I say here, we're putting pressure here and we're putting pressure here, but we're going to put pressure here and we're going to put pressure here, which in turn will give it a 360-degree control grip. And that's going to give us more seatability when that weapon goes in your hand, that you're going to be able to control that muzzle flip, which is imperative. We're putting When you wrap your fingers and firmly secure, the foundation of accuracy starts with a grip that is from your dominant hand with your fingers wrapped securely around the grip, then stabilize the gun to reduce movement. So you're not going to get a bunch of muzzle flip at all. What we're trying to do mostly is put enough of this meat that we have here on the weapon to control it. You know, when you shoot a small pistol, how much challenging it is to control a weapon because there's not a ton of real estate there compared to if you have a larger pistol, you're going to more real estate. Smaller pistol, less real estate. Let's see what we have here. Jose, welcome, 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 Jose. Thank you for being here, buddy. Appreciate you very much. All right. A lot of people, when we get down to it, so we got number one is grip, high on the grip. Number two is wrapping the hands to firm secure. Number three is maximizing contact. Here's the challenge that we see most people do, and you probably know somebody, you may shoot like this as well, is when they take the weapon and instead of opening up their hand and making that void right here, they tuck that thumb and put their other hand here. And what that does, they think by pushing this here and squeezing hard without wrapping that thumb, you can almost see the gap right here already. There's a gap right here. But when you wrap your thumbs to the hip, this hand begins to touch the firearm. When you block the hand from touching the firearm, how can you control it if all your power and strength comes from here, but it's being blocked by the thumb? And this is what's called thumbing of the weapon. It happens here as well as here. You could put too much pressure by squeezing with the thumb on the gun. We don't want any pressure with the thumbs at all. The thumbs are truly along for the ride. They're there to get out of the way, basically, and they're there to index towards the target. But if you dump your thumb and try to cover over top it with your other hand, you're blocking your non-dominant hand from helping you control the weapon. So when we do this, it's called a two thumbs forward control. Both thumbs forward along the side of the frame not only provides more control, but aligns the grip for a natural angle of recoil. And the why that's being said like that is we try to convince students to turn their thumb towards the target. So when I lay in the firearm and I push the other thumb on top of, I'm getting very little muzzle flip because I'm already locking out that thumb to a point where it can't really lock down. If you take your thumb and point it out in front of you to begin with, and now I ask you to bend your wrist to move your thumb a little bit more, it can't go anymore. So technically, what tends to happen with most people is they use their wrist to aim the pistol instead of using their waist to aim the pistol. So it's very easy. If you're just sitting at home right now, just take your thumb, point it towards whatever you want to. You have locked out your thumb a little bit. Now begin to try to bend your wrist to move that thumb a little lower. It's not going to happen. So, in turn, when you're able to drive that thumb forward and get that sort of cantus of the hand being underneath, and it naturally lays in there like that because if you have your thumbs here and you lay that thumb forward, you're going to get very little muzzle flip on the weapon, which in turn will help you reactivate or re be able to see the weapon is not going to rise and fall so much, so it's going to allow you to get a quicker shot return. Locking the thumbs out are key. Now, I can't physically lock my thumbs out like that and shoot on a regular basis because I've messed my thumbs up many years ago and it hurts me to do it like that. And I'm not asking you to do anything that hurts you. I want you to get to a point where you're controlling it as much as possible. That's the key thing here. I'm giving you advice. There are people who bury their thumb and shoot fine, shoot very accurate. I'm not saying I have the best ways, but a majority of my new students are going in the back that never shot a pistol before are stacking them with what I'm teaching them. So it's working. So compared to somebody who comes in, who buries a thumb, maybe pulls a trigger versus presses a trigger, does all the other stuff, they're getting more less control of the weapon. Though you control it, you can run it. If you don't control it, it becomes somewhat of a challenge for you. And our whole job is to shoot the pistol, let the gun level back out, and shoot the pistol again. Sights level each time. If the weapon is not muzzle flipping, it's going to stay in your line of sight and makes it easy for recurring shots. All right. So there's a fine line. Number 5 is a firm pressure. Now, it's very hard for me when students come here, it's very hard for me to tell them how much pressure we need to put on the weapon. It's kind of a weird scenario because I deal with a lot of women and a lot of men, but we do not need to have a death grip here because if we death grip the gun here, we're torquing the pistol, which is going to cause a lot more inaccuracy than if we control the weapon by driving it. And this is one of the tricks I'm going to give you. And I guarantee you go to the range and try this. You'll find, oh my God, how much more control I have. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or you're 96. And you're either way, this is the best way to control a weapon. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I want you to feel it if you can for me. I want you to take your hands out in front of you. I want you to bring your hands together. I want you to squeeze your hands together. and I want you to feel your pecs engage. Gentlemen, this is not for the ladies. This is not for the ladies can do it, but this is not for the ladies. And when you push out in front of you and drive that, those pecs are what's going to allow you to drive this weapon. Naturally, when your hands go together, there's some pressure there. But when we grab the front of the firearm and we lock our hands down on the back side of the firearm, we're putting pressure here and here and here. It's going to allow that gun device in and control. The more you drive a weapon, gentlemen, with your pecs, the more control you have. The more you lock out your wrist while you're shooting the pistol, the more control you have. The more you press the trigger instead of pull the trigger, the uh, more control you have, less recoil management you have, and the more the shots will be where they need to be on a regular basis. Okay, ladies, this is for you. Ready? Instead of taking your hands together, I want you to drive your hand out, and I want you to take your other hand and pull back. So you're pushing out, ladies, and pulling back with this hand. So push out and pull back. And when you push out and pull back, your back muscles start to kick in. And that's what we want to use to control the weapon and control the recoil. Now, the more we push and pull, the easier it's going to be. Guys, one of the things I can tell you to let you try this on a regular basis at the range and start getting more consistent is to stick to that low round count. Stick to those 5 rounds, stick to those 6 rounds. Every training class we do here at the range, we're always doing low count round count drills. We're always doing low round count control, 5 shots only here when training classes, because I can get any student to control the weapon at 5 shots. If we take a magazine, put 10 shots in it, we're along for the ride after the 5th shot anyways, because there's no real possibility for someone to control the weapon the whole time, especially when they're new at it, pushing and pulling. You'll always tend to have a low shot here or a high shot there, or a pull of a trigger versus a press of trigger, and all the other stuff that needs to be learn as we're shooting, but the more we drive that weapon out and get a decent, firm pressure, but not a death grip. So when we take students out, I had a couple ladies today. I had an Indian woman. She was probably in her 70s. First time shooting, did wonderful. She bought the pistol in June, did one class there. She's been out and about, and she just got back into town, and we took her in the back, and she ran fine. I got her up for another class. She needs a little bit more, but that's not in the wheelhouse of a senior woman. And now all of a sudden she's a widow and she needs somebody there to take care of it, and she wants to have it. So that's awesome thing. But even today, we'll put the 8-inch paper plate out there. The young lady did not miss that 8-inch paper plate at the 3 yards. Even though they were tight groups, they were all in the paper plate, which is a success right off the bat for never. I mean, she last time she shot a pistol was in June when she bought it. And then she came, during the winter, she left, during the summer, she left and she came back just recently to pick it up, which is today. And then I had a young lady earlier today that brought 2 pistols from home, and, she ended up doing okay. I showed her one of the other pistols we had here, and I gave her the drive method, and she'd never heard of that before, and she got very comfortable real quick. Control is one of those things that we have to have, but the challenge of telling you I need this percentage from you, you're going to naturally let off. You're going to know, or you're going to get the feel of how much pressure you need to control the weapon. And we can see it from behind when someone is shooting, when they've got the weapon and they're shooting it and it's hardly any kind of muzzle flip at all, then they're actually driving that weapon to control it. If you're at the range, ladies and gentlemen, you're pulling that trigger or you're engaging that weapon And when you cut the shot and that weapon is turned down or pops down like that, that is a tendency of pulling the trigger versus pressing the trigger. And what tends to happen with that scenario, if the student would lock out that other wrist, there's no place for that to go because the thumb is locked out already. Again, most people just get some kind of natural this. How many people have seen this at the range? This is called teacupping. How much control can this hand give us if it's not touching the pistol, right? Or let's go here, and how much control can that do now? Because that's not allowing us to lock our wrist out at all, and it gives solid movement, that they can go up and down. Now, if you're using this to aim the pistol, you already put the gun in some weird angle that's going to cause it to be off as we go. The more we can lock that wrist out when we put the weapon in and lock down. Now, our YouTube video, I did this today on the YouTube video. You can check that out in the description below. And this, it's 8-minute video. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely shows how much more we were able to put the video. We could put the camera around. We had the guys holding the camera and stuff like that. So it kind of gave you a better view of it. But I want to make sure you understand that touching the pistol, controlling the pistol all starts with the hands. A lot of people don't know, but your dominant hand holds the pistol. Your non-dominant hand controls the pistol. So there's more power with these four fingers than the three fingers. Because remember, the thumbs and the trigger finger are along for the ride. So they really don't do anything. The trigger finger actually engages the trigger, but the thumbs are just there to stay out of the way. We don't need them. We could take them off, put them in the corner. You don't need them for shooting the pistol. And then if you were to take the thumb um, and come back here with it, you know what'll happen to you at that point in time. You're going to get bit pretty nasty because that slide wants to come out. And what tends to happen, guys, is someone will grab down low like this, and when they there we go, grab down low, and when they do that, they get away with it. That slide would not hit my thumb at all. And I do that 6 or 7 times, and all of a sudden I slip my thumb up a little higher for some reason. And then I pull the trigger, and bam, I get cut, and you're in my band-aids in the back. And you don't know why it happened. Why did that happen? What happened? What did I do different? Well, you weren't doing it right to begin with. You just got away with it until you put your finger too high on your thumb too high on the slide, and that's when it got you. All right. So locking out that wrist to stabilize the gun, that is, if you can remember to lock that thumb out as best you can, you're going to be more. That's going to give you more than anything else because a lot of times if you have it locked out already, it's hardly ever. That's why the two thumb grips is so popular because it does make a student very accurate very quickly because there is no manipulation too much of the pistol because it won't go any further than what your thumb is going to go. All right, so number 7 is eliminate grip gap to avoid shifts. All right, so grip gap is more in that line of not having it high on the tang, putting that whole thumb down and thumb up. That would be a grip gap. Having too low of a grip here, maybe being down here. That's a grip we see on a regular basis. Where the guy's got it way down, he's got his fingers low, and he's not. Or how many of you seen do this? Where someone grabs the front of the trigger well and then dumps his hand in that. He's got his two thumbs forward, but he's gripping this here. Now, what happens here is every time you engage that trigger, you're going to pull that gun off to the left. Because although some of the Glocks and some of the other guns have this little trigger well grab a hold, I don't know why it's even there. It should you shouldn't be grabbing that part of it. Now there are guys that shoot like that, and I'm gonna get somebody saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." But technically, we want to make sure we're controlling. And out of all the fingers on your hand, think about this. If I said, "Tell me your most powerful finger on your hand," it's going to be this one. And why wouldn't we want that to grip the firearm versus grip the trigger well? And if it's gripping the trigger well, don't you think it's going to pull the trigger well? So when you go to grab here, you're going to be popping it, popping it, popping it. And that's kind of why this is confusing for new students because I think that's where it needs to be. And if we're doing that, chances are, if we're doing this, look at the gap between my finger here and the trigger well. So now I've got to bring that up, and it's going to put me in a real sandwichy kind of, it almost feels weird because look where this finger is. And now we got to do this. So now chances are you're going to have some kind of thumb pressure like this, which is going to cause more issues with thumbing again. So your proper grip is bringing your hand up and rolling your other hand in, which allows that thumb to lock out, which pushes it out in front of you, and you get very little drop pressure on the weapon. All right. Eliminate trigger gap. Proper grip has a minimal gap. Any opening space allowed movement, which affects alignment and accuracy. Keep your hands tight against the gun's surface. This is probably one of the mistakes most people do is they have some kind of gap that's happening on the pistol. I've told you many times before, our firearm is a bully, and if you give it something, it's going to take it. That's why a lot of women who go to the range and someone wants to go shooting, they are they are a little nervous about gripping the weapon. The young lady today, the older lady, she physically was a little intimidated, and the more she double gripped, I don't we call it milking. So imagine you've seen this. Someone shoots and they adjust the grip, and someone shoots and they adjust the grip, and someone shoots. Every time you adjust your grip, you're starting over again and you're losing control of the weapon. If you cannot if you cannot hold the pistol through 5 shots without adjusting your grip, you need to work on your foundation, your power in your hands. Because technically, the recoil on a 9 millimeter is very low if you're controlling it and driving it. We're pushing and pulling and locking here. You won't need to worry about readjusting your grip. It's when you have poor grip power or poor uh, where your hands are on the weapon. I mean, if you're high on the tang and watch these videos, it's going to give you that power grip that we're looking for. A power grip is going to allow you to control the weapon so you don't have to go and readjust your grips during shots. Now, again, through 5 rounds, anybody should be able to control the firearm through 5 rounds, especially a 9 millimeter. When you get to the higher capacity round counts, that becomes a large problem for most people. Most people are limited times at the range and they want to get as much shooting in as possible while they're here. We're not a time counter, but most places are somewhere between 20 and $25 an hour to shoot. Now we're 25 hour for 2 people for 1 lane, and we're not time counters. So if you're no one's here waiting to take your lane, you just shoot. I don't really care. I'm not gonna go back there and go, okay, you owe me another 20 minutes or something like that. That's not what we do. It's not our we're not like that. But keep in mind, the more you shoot, the more you learn, the more you pick up. But we got to be careful if we're not controlling the weapon and we're not doing this stuff. How much How much control you have helps you out tremendously on accuracy. Coming here shooting 500 rounds when your first 50 were good and the rest were all over the place. What are you learning from that at that point in time? You're learning more bad habits than you are good habits. So we want to stick to a round count that is going to make you proficient. Now, if you can do it all and you shoot 500 rounds and you haven't missed a paper plate yet, well, that's solid, good, great. But if you start pulling off the paper plate and doing a lot of different stuff, those are most likely manipulation shots, something you're doing wrong. Remember these pistols, put them in a vise, use an actuator to engage the trigger. They're as accurate as anything ever. They'll be in the same damn hole. The problem is we manipulate this pistol. It's not the pistol itself. So when guys come in and they kind of look at the pistol to figure out what's wrong with it, it ain't the pistol, guys. It ain't the pistol. All right. Eliminate pistol gap. We said that one. Finger placement. Okay. So here's what I want to get to. With proper grip, we need to work on making sure that we have a good trigger engagement. It all comes down to that. But one of the things that we always talk about, and I think majority of people get carried away, this piece right here, when it touches the firearm, it's physically going to cause it to manipulate to the left. So if I just take my finger and I push on the firearm with it, you can see now I'm over manipulating this a little bit just to show you on camera. But this is what happens. Now, imagine if I tuck my finger and I made that gap. Can you see that? Can you see that gap right here? You're almost not touching the firearm. That's going to allow what's happening there is I'm using the tip of my finger, just the pad of my finger. And what I'm trying to do here is then when I start bringing that pistol back, it's going to stay in the center or the bore axis of the firearm when we engage this trigger back. We want to almost take this trigger back straight back into our hand, not, I can't even do it, but not putting your whole finger in the gun. That's going to definitely cause a lot of the gun to go off to the left. Majority of the time, a right-handed student shoots low and left due to the fact that they are pulling the trigger and then anticipating, and there's where the low and left happens. Normally, high and right, high and left. High and right is more focusing on your front post and squeezing hard with your right hand. That's going to sing it up there. And then high left, it's more concentrating out here and not looking here and too much finger in the gun, which is going to cause the high right stuff. But majority right-handed students are low and left on a regular basis because they're anticipating the recoil and putting too much finger in the gun. And that's one of those things. So the more we can put these products together, we're going to maintain a consistent muscle memory. That's why I recommend 5 shots at a time all the time. All the time, all the time. 5 shots at a time. That's stupid. Uh, Foundation of accuracy is building consistent practice. Hold the gun the same way every time. Develop muscle memory that you can rely on in any situation. And this is kind of one of those deals. Once you get those foundation, we talk about the foundation of shooting starts with your stance, your grip, and your trigger control. These 3 things are going to make you or break you. You can have, I said earlier in the beginning of this, you can have a phenomenal stance. What's a good stance? A stance is feet shoulder width apart, bouncing on your knees a little bit, leaning forward just a little bit to get your butt up, get your nose over your toes to help you control that recoil. All right. What's a good grip? We talked about the 2 thumbs forward and then getting that drive out. Gentlemen, driving with your chest muscles. Women, driving with your back muscles. That's going to allow you to control this weapon. What's a good trigger engagement? It's a press, not a pull. Now, obviously, in a high defense situation, you're not going to press the trigger. You can't ask the bad guy, "Hey, my instructor said I need to press the trigger, so you need to stand still, please, while I slowly engage this trigger into my into the back of the gun to let the gun fire." But remember, our range time is to be able to repeat this and build a muscle memory effect, and they should all be in the 8-inch paper plate. And we need to work on that because there's a lot of different stuff people don't understand how to put a sight together. What do I do with the front post? What do I do with the back post? What do I do? You know, the front post and the back post are one sight. You can't have your front post be the sight because it's not lined up with anything in the back, and vice versa. So if your focus is on your front post and not your back post, you just got it floating out there and it's not letting you to line up. Remember, sights are a convenience on a pistol. Our job is to marry the front post and the back post to allow the gun to be level. If you have front post high, you're focusing here only. You don't see this. Look what's happening. You're going to shoot high. Vice versa. If you're focusing down here and you're not lining up this piece here, well, they have 3-dot systems. The Glock has a box and dot system. Then you got the gun at that angle. A level pistol will always shoot level. I'll give you a, a drill to try. I want you next time you're at the range, I want you to put a paper plate up, and I only want you to focus on the back of the firearm right here. Don't worry about your sights. Just focus right here. Take an 8-inch paper plate and put it up on the target and just slowly engage the trigger. You'll be surprised how accurate you can be by just point shooting this weapon. If I physically keep both eyes open, put this where it circles into the paper plate, I'm not going to miss the paper plate. And you won't either if you have a proper engagement. So these sights help us become uh, more accurate because we're able to tighten up our groups a little bit. But technically, the vital triangle starts at the shoulders and goes to the groin. I don't remember a bad guy wearing a target, so I don't need them all to stack. Think about this, guys. If you're at the range and you have conquered 3 yards, that's 9 feet, and you can stack all bullets in a quarter. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You're consistently doing that. Are you shooting fast enough at that point in time? If you're able to stack them all together in a tennis ball size and they all stay within that 3-inch circle, right? Tennis ball is not 3 inches, probably 2.5. Okay. Well, we need to shoot a little faster. And let's shoot as fast as we can and see what our groups do. And as they get further out, then we need to slow down a little bit. There is a speed versus accuracy effect here, right? Trust me, in a high defense situation, you are not going to be thinking about anything I tell you. You're not be thinking about anything but living and and loving again, right? So you're going to be engaging the way you can. And majority of the time in a scenario like this, we need to be able to grab this pistol and do what we need to do with no thinking about it. The intimidations are all going to be gone. That's why we need to shoot as much as possible, get the grip as as good as possible, get your foundation, get your control in this weapon. Because remember this, guys, more than anything else, and I people get caught up too much on this. What is this? Not this. This is a piece of plastic. But a normal firearm is just a tool, and a tool needs a craftsman. And the more comfortable you get with that, the easier it's going to be for you. I run the tool. The tool does not run me. And this helps us tremendously because a lot of people go, "Well, I can't have a pistol without safety." Well, there isn't a pistol without safety. You know why? Because you are the safety. A mechanical device on the side of a pistol here, the trigger safeties that are in these guns, uh, wall safety, magazine disconnect, any of that stuff is just what it is. It's a mechanical device that can and will fail. Who's the safety on the pistol? You are. And where should your finger not be? On the trigger. What you're not pointed at, anything you love and don't want to destroy. Always know your target and what's beyond. When we pick the pistol up, we make a pistol. When we put the pistol down, we make a pistol. Follow those routines like that, your finger will never be on this trigger. That weapon will not fire unless you put your finger on the trigger. You know, Glocks have been tested from helicopter drops over a 50 feet. And a lot of manufacturers test all these things. There's drop safeties, sear safeties, lock safeties, trigger safeties. They're the safest gun on the market, but they just don't have a wall safety. If they weren't safe, why would the United States military, for many years, as well as most of the sheriffs, police, and high patrolmen, all those are using Glocks because they are a safe pistol. It is Glock Safety Action is what it's called. So it's kind of a cool little deal for you. You know, D, you are right there, buddy. I can't really make a comment about that. D said SIGs are not drop safe. You are correct there, buddy. That's why I'm not a SIG guy. Many years ago, SIG had the 320 they issued to the United States military. Very good, D. And they had some issues with that gun dropping and firing, and because of a military contract at one time or another, they would not let us send back those guns for recalls. We had to sell them to customers and let the customers send them in for a free trigger recall. So the moment I got rid of my 320s, I've never carried a SIG in my store again. I'll buy one for you. I'll let you shoot one, but I will never recommend one because I took a it made me very upset because I know a company that big, it's got to have at least 150 to 200, maybe 300 employees. Why not beta test that product? Why not give it to customers? Why give it to a sheriff who drops his utility belt and shoots himself in the ass, which in turn he hurt himself. But what if he hit a femoral artery? You know, and there's a lot of challenges of this stuff. So thank you, D, for mentioning that. I don't like to talk about that stuff because they're saying it's not an issue, but it was an issue and it did happen. Multiple people happen, which is kind of a scary thing. Which is all on the internet, so it's not something It's not a secret that I'm hiding. But I have a choice. I own a gun store. I will not carry a SIG in the store. I have SIGs in the store that are used. The people trade them in. There's a lot of people trading SIGs. They do, and I will sell them because they're used products. But I have to tell them everything about them, and I buy them at the right price. So if a customer wants it, they're getting a good deal on in our used section. But I will not keep one in the store for that purpose. There are other stores down the street. You can go shoot one. I'll get you one. But there's too many other products out there that are better than them. And technically, there's when you pull a trigger of a SIG product versus a Smith product, the trigger sounds totally different. SIG has a plasticky clunk to it, and Smith and Wesson and Glock and all of them have metal. It's a plastic internals versus metal internals, in my opinion. And of course, it's my opinion. So, a good grip complements proper stance. A solid grip only effect i- is only effective when you pair it with a proper stance and engage your core leaning slightly forward and stable shooting foundation to enhance accuracy. I can tell you that this is one of those things that we see back there an awful lot. How many of you stand with your feet shoulder width apart, you know, maybe leaning forward just a little bit to get your nose over your toes, or you in the camp of 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And there's a lot of people that's called the weaver stance. And there's a lot of people who stand like that to mitigate recoil management. We catch a lot of women doing that because they're trying to soak up the recoil of that gun pushing them back. Well, what tends to happen in that stance is very hard to get your feet in a position where you can soak it up enough. And not only that, but it puts you 1 foot forward, one foot back, puts you in some kind of balancing effect there, right? So the academy, which they all went to the Ostley's stance because what these guys are wearing is a bulletproof vest. And when you have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, you're opening up your sides to engagement. And there, when you wear a bulletproof vest, the internal flats of your body are not going to be protected by a bullet like they would be with center chest. So they taught them to stand with their feet shoulder width apart and pushing that gun in an oscillate triangle, which allowed them to have full chest protection, front and back, which allowed them two things. It allowed them to be protected from the belly up to the neck area with a plate of some kind, a bullet stopping plate, as well as I call it a plate, but it's most of them are wearing uh, soft bullets. They're not doing full metal plates. Some of the squat guys are probably wearing a full plate, but most of the cops around town are doing a soft armor. Secondary thing it does for us, it gives us mobility. When your feet are shoulder width apart, you're allowed to move forward and backwards, right and left. Think about any athletic sport you could think of. Mobility is one of the things we got to be able to do. If you're standing 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, you only have that ability to run in that direction. If we tried to change our direction, we're going to be twisting our feet at some kind of angle, which is going to cause us more issues than if we were to just stand with our feet shoulder width apart. And balancing act is going to be easier when you have your feet shoulder width apart. Working on that mobility is going to be a lot easier for you. So, putting it all together when it comes to a good grip and proper stance and trigger control, these three things will make you understand. Uh, you'll start feeling a lot more better about how you control the weapon. Each of these tips reinforces the principle that a strong, consistent grip is the cornerstone of shooting accurately. Mastering your grip is essential for everyone serious about improving shooting accuracy. A strong grip, a consistent grip, doesn't just control, just doesn't enhance control. It establishes a foundation that keep your shots steady and aim true. By following these 10 tips, you'll set yourself for success each time you handle your pistol. Remember, practice is the key. Uh, you as you incorporate these grips techniques in your routine, they will become second nature. Muscle memory will kick in, allowing you to focus on the element of shooting, from sight alignment to trigger control. With each time and dedication, a solid grip will become more reliable cornerstone of your shooting skills, helping you achieve a better accuracy and greater confidence. Okay, guys, we're going to go back and answer any questions you have as far as that goes. We're going to talk a little bit about our sponsor again because they are part of our team here, and we'd like to guys to get that discount if you can for us. Again, we want to thank freeflorida.net. Thank you very much for sponsoring this YouTube live tonight, as well as our YouTube channel and our Facebook and any social media accounts. We appreciate you very much. This company is a 2A friendly company. They have shirts that are Florida friendly. They have a lot of neat stuff at freeflorida.net where the Constitution still lives. If you're looking for hoodies or t-shirts or anything else like that, whether you're a man or a woman, they have something just for you. They want to offer you a 10% discount at checkout if you enter FTBJ924 at checkout. Guys, help help me support people who support us by picking something up from them. We would appreciate it very much. Thank you, freeflorida.net, for sponsoring this live. Guys, if you have an opportunity, excuse me, if you have an opportunity, visit our YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff out there. What's happening lately is we get a bunch of subscribers and then all of a sudden we lose a bunch of subscribers. So somebody or something is happening to get you de- uh, unsubscribed. So before you check out tonight, I want to make sure you look down and make sure that subscribe button is hit because somehow or another, I'm sure it's not various. I'm sure it's not happening. They're not doing that because we're a gun. We deal with the boo boos, and I'm sure they're not. Facebook's not doing that, and YouTube's not doing that. Facebook does it to us all the time, but for some reason or another. But uh, only us. I mean, there's other companies out there. We just get on a list somewhere along that. I'm always being threatened by something or another by them. But make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Get there, check out our newest video drop. We appreciate the video drop. Check out our new ebook if you get an opportunity. We appreciate that very much. Guys, I'm here for you. If there's anything that you are looking for us to do a video on, we would appreciate you very much. We are at 58, 59, so we're almost an hour. I like to go about an hour in these things, so we're almost there. Richard Shepard, thank you very much for being on the live tonight or making a comment. He was on 5:31. He was early. We appreciate you very much. As always, Jose Fernandez from Puerto Rico, thank you very much. Hope you're having a great day. And D the meat, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you mentioning that thing about the drop safeties on SIGs. I try not to badmouth any companies like that, but you did, I didn't. I just responded back to what you were saying there. So, yeah, I would, those 320s are issued to the United States military, and they must not be having too many problems with them. But we've been hearing about that as well. But who knows exactly? They may have just switched it out when before they shipped them out to them, but they surely wanted us to sell them without physically and letting them send it in for a free trigger guide. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's great, wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, guys, thank you very much. We got a big week coming up. We got next Tuesday's the big day. We are going to have a live that night. I'm not sure if we're gonna do a quick one there because I want to get home and watch the election as well. Hopefully, we won't have to be wondering. Uh, no, buddy. D to me. This is what he says here. Here he's asking. Is a Smith and Wesson FPC carbine a practical gun, or is it just a novelty? No, brother. It's for real. I could tell you, I did a video on YouTube. You get an opportunity to go over there and watch that thing, and I called it the cat's meow. I think it is. I could tell you, there's a lot of stuff on the market today that have takedown units. This is not a takedown like you would think of, like the Ruger FPC, the Ruger's 9 millimeter. But the 9 millimeter carbine, because this gun folds up, it's similar to the uh, Caltech Sub 1000, two Cubs, excuse me, Caltech Sub 2000 and 9 millimeter. But that one actually folded on top of each other. This one here folds on the outside of each other. Comes with 3 magazines. It comes with uh, a cool bag. It's a nice travel piece, D. I sold a ton of them. I think they're a great overall piece. It's very economical, very light, shoots really well. You're going to need a red dot for it. I would never use flip up sights on her. And you don't need backups on her. If you're worried about leaving the red dot on, just get you a bunch of wafer batteries and put them in your bag. The concept, D, really is we want to get back to um, the old cowboy days. Well, what was in my pistol went in my carbine, and vice versa. Using a 9 millimeter for home defense, carbine wise, is a great option. People want to grab that AR-15 and to use it for home defense, and it becomes very challenging because that's a 3,000 feet per second bullet, and it's all flamethrower as well, so it causes a lot of stuff. 9 millimeter, I could take anyone in the family, put them in a corner, put two of those 23 round magazines, and they got plenty of rounds to win the fight. So I would recommend you try one and shoot one, but technically there's no recoil to it. I've sold them to senior women, I've sold them to men, I've sold them to older people, younger people. I've actually have one myself. They're pretty cool. I did a full video on it. You can check that out on our YouTube channel, D. And there are some awesome for the price point. You can't beat it. Now, Smith came out with the Response, which is that AR style that does not break in half, which is kind of nice, but they're a little high end. Hell, we were selling those FPCs at one time for with a red dot for like 625 or six something. I can't remember now. Pretty economical, man. And the cool thing is, if you had a full size 2.0 Smith and Wesson, right? That Smith and Wesson takes the same mag as the FPC, and vice versa. So you could actually have the pistol and the FPC in the same bag and make it a travel companion for you. And very economical, very light, less than 6 pounds. I mean, it's a super great piece. We put those flat red dots on there. That's we call them franchises or whatever. They're on our Amazon store, and they're like $30, $35, some shit like that. They take those 2032 batteries and super accurate, very little recoil. I would not tell you there's not hardly any disadvantages of that weapon, to be honest with you. I hope I didn't bore you with that, deep, but that hey, if you get an opportunity to pick one up, you will not be disappointed, my friend. Not be disappointed. Thank you, D, for asking that question. That was awesome, buddy. We appreciate you. It's my next pistol. It's my next gun. Yeah. So what I was going to say to you, D, is if you get the opportunity, now you can find a lot of those 2 point. See, Smith and Wesson now has got into the equalizer, and they've always had the shield, but the new shields are the shield pluses, and those have those 12, 13 round magazines. Well, the equalizer's mag will fit into the shield plus, which now you get 15 rounds in that shield plus, which is awesome. The challenge you have is that's not a 2.0 full size. So that's not going to help you work the carbine piece there. But if you got a 2.0, which a lot of people are trading them in now because they want to go to the equalizer, they want to go to something like that. So you can pick up a 4-inch 2.0 9 millimeter, and that magazine will fit into your FPC, and your FPC's mags, the 23 rounders, will fit into your 2.0. So a lot of guys, what they're doing now is they get the subcompact 2.0 Smith and Wesson M&P, which the subcompact I think holds 12 rounds, 12, 13. I don't remember exactly. And then they take the subcompact rounds. Now that if it's a 15 rounder, it'll fit in there. If it's the shorter round, like 10 rounders, it won't. And then from there, you can throw in that 23 rounder into each one of the weapons. And that technically with Smith's 23 round magazine, because that's being used in the Smith and Wesson FPC, and it's being used in the response. Now, the cool thing about the response, if you check one of those out, is the response itself has the magazine well in the box. There is a Glock mag well that you can install into the Smith and Wesson response, and now it'll take Glock mags. And if you're buying any kind of FPC, which is I actually did a live a while back on FPCs. You might want to check that out too there, D. That's in our on our live section on our YouTube channel. And I covered all the FPCs that were available. But one of the things we talked about is the best thing you can do is always, if you can't get you don't want a proprietary magazine. You want to use a Glock mag, is always that's why the sub 2000 was so popular a long time. It folded. It took a Glock mag. It came with Glock mag. They make them with Smiths. They make them, but with that response, what they did was they took that unit and now they've made it where it will take the Glock mags or Smith mags. Now you get it with the Smith mags; they come with them. But if you're going to switch to Glock, but that's not an easy switch back and forth. So you either make a decision: I'm going to buy a Smith and Wesson 2.0, or I already have a Glock 19, and I'm just going to get Glock mags for it. Because the one thing about Glock, where you get 23 rounds with the Smith, well, they make those battle mags for Glock, which you can get up to 30 rounds, 32 maybe. I think 32, 32 9 millimeter. Now it's a pain in the ass to load 32 rounds, but it is closer to the capacity that someone wants if they're using it for defensive purposes. But it's an AR platform unit. It has the palm slammer. It has the charging handle. It has all the unique stuff. They're not that hard to clean, either one of them, so it wouldn't be a bad choice if you get an opportunity to pick one up. Pick one up, brother. I would kind of look around town and see who's got one. They may have some users on the wall. If not, it doesn't hurt your feeling to buy brand new either. It does come with some warranties with brand new. Smith does extend some warranties with other products. It all depends on what it is. All right. Well, it's an hour and 9 minutes. I'm going to say thank you very much for everybody. We appreciate everybody being on here tonight. Um, Last three things for you. God bless. Be safe. And remember, you are your first line defense. Life's too short. Get out and do something fun you like to do. We work hard. We need to remember to play hard a little bit too. Uh, our world is changing every day. We've been through almost 3.5, almost 4 years of uh, the economy the way it is, and hopefully will be changing a little bit. Remember this: as a gun store, Democrats are always great for the gun business, but I'd give it up if we could get back to some inexpensive gas and some other stuff. So vote with your wallet. Don't vote for anything else. It's part of that deal. I don't want to get too political on it, but you know what she's like. I don't believe she's going to change that much to she's not going to she's going to be another 4 years of what we got here, and I don't think we can afford another 4 years of that, be honest with me. So until next time, I love you very much. Get out and vote. Get out, tell your friends and family to vote. Get people to get them there. Get them do what you got to do. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.